Well, Greedy Selfish 97, thank you so much for the request. And it is almost 95 minutes that I will never ever get back. Angelic to the Core. This came out in 2016. It took him 10 years to make this piece of fucking garbage. I'm not kidding you. Corey was going through a donation that he wanted to complete from a website called Indiegogo. He wanted $105,000, but it failed to close to $15,000. And the album was released as his 5th studio album. And thank God that I did not listen to the previous 4, because I've heard that they were bad. But Angelic to the Core is so mind-numbingly insulting to the ears of mine. And this is why, in my opinion, this is the biggest abomination that I've ever heard since Lulu from Lou Reed and Metallica. I have actually made notes on each track on my laptop, track by track, and I'm going to go through them quickly. There are 2 sections of this album, the dance section and the rock section. Both of these sections, well, 2 halves of this album are 40+ minutes of some of the biggest pieces of garbage you'll ever hear. So, let's just go right into it. Ascension Millennium. Too much over-the-top auto-tune and horrible beat that lacks any melody. Poor first impressions right from the first few bars. Loving Lies starts with some worthless spoken word, and this is another overkill of auto-tune. The dance sounds on here are overcompressed. The bridge has some of the worst flat notes as well. Angelic to the Core. Very awkward dialogue that drags on too long. The funk guitars are out of place. Tedious instrumentals with uninspired effects. Another horrible song. Forbid in Attraction starts with some samples of Batman music. Again, this atrocious track has some of the worst out-of-place structures, stupid spoken skits with sound effects that makes it recycled with one of Corey's most laughably bad quiet vocal passages, a terrible sexual lyrics type song. Cross the Line, lackluster electronics and effects that were so cheesy and fails to give a complete impression of anything remotely passable. A very repetitive and boring song. Bad People. Funk guitars again with sound effects and dialogue. Can this album get any better? Nope. Harmonica on a dance type style of music? How does that work? Harmonica should only be used in rock, folk, and blues, and that's it. But not with dance music, for fuck's sakes. Bland chorus, and does not get any better with no punch, and vocals were not interesting. It's like a cheesy attempt of making a commercial and like a rip-off Michael Jackson track. I am not kidding, guys. Duh. What kind of fucking track title is that? And the lyrics are one of the most generic and shows Corey's awful impressions. Again, musically, it's not anything remotely new to the table. It is very annoying of a track, and I hate it. It is an atrocious piece of garbage. One lyric saying, "I'm the best rapper in the world." No, you're fucking not. Everybody. Clean guitar playing, trying to be melodic, but ruins it with another typical dance beat, and the guitars don't have a correct match. One of the blandest that tries too hard to make it good. The guest appearance vocals done by Doc Ice that don't make it better. Lickety-splickety with another guest, Corrupt. Uninteresting passages of vocals, and Corey's vocals are laughably bad once again, with overblown chorus, messy effects, and completely feels rushed. And it feels like a Weird Al copycat. The single Go For It with Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg, one of the richest and successful rap artists of all time, makes an appearance. A fucking dubstep track. And this one is appalling, with Snoop's appearance that fails miserably. and it does not get any better with auto-tune again and more female vocals. The last track on the dance half of this album, Test 1. A softer sound that Corey tries too hard again to make some feel into it, and this has tons of separate vocal tracks that were panning left to right all over the place, and the saxophones are off time and terrible. It goes on too long. The rock section, seamless, vocal harmonies coming in and out. An out-of-control slop musically, with guitars not making it interesting, and saxophone popping in again, and Fred Durst pops in with terrible distorted guitars in the mix, which was a very bad piece of trash. Wanna Break Free? Corey trying to do staccato, but the vocals were flat in the chorus. Music on this is generic with swirling synths and tight drumming, then abruptly changes to guitar riffs, trying to make a rock style, and it's just a racket. Negativity. This intro starts with synth and distorted guitars that don't work at all. It is more out of place with instruments that were awfully placed in this drab. The title suits my feelings of this. Corey feels so constipated, and I had to put that in. You Got Me. Another song with dance beat and electric guitars. A wildly weak slop of a chorus with lyrics continuing on its terrible writing. Nothing much to be said about it. And the spoken words are very annoying right now. Baby Blue Eyes. An audio sound of a baby then transcends into clean guitars with wah-wah leads. Vocals were not as bad and something softer. And shockingly, this music instrumentation-wise sounds decent to anything else on this album. For My Love. A cinematic few seconds with weird words then drops into acoustic sounds, but the lyrics are so nonsensical. You bring your stars up to the moon. What the fuck? How can that make anything good after that? Bland track with forgettable changes from its progression. We Wanted Change, a jazz swing oriented song, but the vocals are so bad that it's like a joke. It's such an appalling mess. Frank Sinatra would be pissed. Take a Stand, a radio report of the news on the introduction, and then a piano set of chords come in with the guitars. Could it be promising? No, I cannot accept this one either. A poppy snoozeville with more news audio samples, an attempt to be like a ballad sounding piece, but its delivery is filled with below average playing and execution. Remember 222, another one that tries to have some sense and power, but it's like the first half of the album being so uninteresting and boring lyrics. A poor chorus that never makes it big and striking, and the samples were used more than any other track. It is forgettable and boring. Mercy featuring B. Howard, which is an ambient-driven introduction with flute and vocal harmony. Then it becomes juvenile with Corey again, and the lyric, Mercy on My Soul, are the perfect words for it. I'd give it to Post Malone. The last track, John Lennon, Working Class Hero, Corey Feldman, ruined the best song from my favorite musician of all time. It is so sickening to my ears. Do not listen to this. I am not kidding you guys. Everything about this album is such a train wreck, and as I call it, it's a clusterfuck. I have to say this again. Every single thing about this album is so bad that I just want it to be completely erased from my memory. Corey Feldman, please, for the love of God, stop making music this bad. I'm gonna give this album, possibly right now, the contender for the #1 worst album of all time. That's it. That is the album that I consider to be shockingly worse than Lulu. Anyway, that is my torture done. And once again, thank you to Greedy Selfish 97. Avoid this album at all costs. And I feel a bit lightheaded right now. Just